Amara walked slowly under the morning sun, her eyes red and swollen from crying. The 9-year-old girl had just realized her school fees were missing. She had kept the money carefully in her bag that morning, but in her rush to reach school on time, she'd forgotten to close the zipper properly. Now the money was gone. Tears streamed down her face as she wandered the streets of Lagos. People hurried past her, some glanced, others looked away. Nobody stopped. The little girl felt completely alone in the crowded street. By the roadside sat Samuel, a humble shoemaker. His small wooden stall was simple, with just a few tools and some handmade sandals displayed on a worn table. He had been fixing shoes there for over 20 years, earning just enough to survive each day. When Samuel looked up and saw Amara crying, something stirred in his heart. He couldn't just sit there while a child suffered. Quickly, he stood up and walked toward her. "My child, why are you crying so hard?" he asked gently, his voice full of concern. Amara wiped her face with her hands and tried to speak between sobs. "Sir, I've lost my school fees. I don't know how it happened. I've searched everywhere." Samuel bent down to her level. "Calm down, my daughter. Tell me what happened." Through her tears, Amara explained her situation. She lived with her mother and stepfather. Her mother had lost her teaching job, and her stepfather was now their only provider. He was a strict man who had given her the money that morning with a stern warning: return with the receipt, or face serious consequences. "He said if I don't bring the receipt, he'll send my mother and me away from the house," Amara said, her voice trembling with fear. Samuel's heart broke hearing this. He knew what it was like to struggle. He looked at the little girl's frightened face and made a decision that would change both their lives forever. Have you ever helped someone in need? What happened? Share your story in the comments below. If you're enjoying this tale of kindness and hope, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our inspiring stories. How much is your school fees? Samuel asked softly. 5,000 naira, sir, Amara replied, her voice barely a whisper. Samuel reached into his worn trousers and pulled out a small bundle of cash. It was all the money he had earned that month, money he'd been saving to pay his own rent. His hands trembled slightly as he counted it. 5,000 naira exactly. For a moment, he hesitated. This money was meant to keep a roof over his head. Without it, he and his grandson would face eviction. But looking at Amara's tear-stained face, he couldn't turn away. "Here, take it," Samuel said, placing the money gently in her small hands. "Go and pay your school fees." Amara's eyes widened in disbelief. "Sir, are you sure? This is too much." Samuel smiled, though his heart was heavy with worry about his own situation. "Yes, my child. You remind me of my own grandson. Be serious with your studies. Don't follow bad friends. Stay focused, and one day you will become great." Amara clutched the money tightly, fresh tears flowing, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you, sir. I promise I will never forget you. When I become successful, I will find you and help you too." "Make sure you remember my name," Samuel said with a gentle smile. "I am Samuel Okafor." "I won't forget, sir. I promise," Amara said earnestly. Samuel placed his weathered hand on her head and whispered a prayer for her success and protection. Then he returned to his small stall, his stomach empty and his pockets bare, but his heart strangely at peace. Amara ran toward her school, the money held tightly in her hand. She turned back once to look at the kind man who had saved her and whispered, "God bless you, sir." Samuel watched her go, not knowing that his simple act of kindness had just planted a seed that would grow into something far greater than he could ever imagine. When Amara reached home that evening, she found her mother sitting on a wooden bench, looking worried as usual. The small apartment they lived in was dark and cramped, a constant reminder of their difficult circumstances. "Welcome home," her mother said quietly. "Did you pay the school fees?" Amara nodded. "Yes, Mama. I did." She pulled out the receipt and handed it to her mother. Her mother examined it carefully, relief washing over her face. Thank God. That's one less problem. But then she noticed Amara's hesitation. What's wrong? Is there something you're not telling me? Amara looked down at her feet. Mama, I need to tell you something. I lost the money on my way to school this morning. Her mother's expression changed instantly. What? You lost it? How could you be so careless? I'm sorry, Mama. I don't know how it happened. I searched everywhere but couldn't find it. Her mother's voice rose with panic. Amara, do you understand what this means? Your stepfather warned me. He said if anything went wrong, he would throw us out. He already thinks I'm useless because I lost my job. I'm sorry, Mama, Amara sobbed. I was so scared. I thought about not coming home. Her mother turned away, breathing heavily, trying to control her emotions. The fear of her husband's reaction was overwhelming. But Mama, Amara said quietly, someone helped me. Her mother spun around. Someone helped you? Who? A shoemaker. Mama. He saw me crying by the roadside and asked what was wrong. When I told him, he gave me 5,000 naira. He said it was his last money, but he wanted to help me. Her mother sat down slowly, stunned. A stranger gave you money? Just like that? Amara nodded. Yes, Mama. He was so kind. He told me to study hard and not follow bad friends. He said his name is Samuel Okafor. For a long moment, the room was silent. Then her mother whispered, God bless that man. A complete stranger helped my daughter when we had nothing. Tears filled her eyes. Amara, we must find him and thank him. This kind of kindness is rare in this world. I want to thank him too, Mama. I promised him I would never forget him. When I become rich someday, I'll help him the way he helped me. Her mother placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. I believe you will, my child. God will help you keep that promise. While Amara and her mother were planning to visit Samuel and thank him, disaster was already unfolding on his side of town. That morning, Samuel sat quietly in his small stall by the roadside. He had a few handmade sandals displayed on his table, hoping customers would come. Business had been slow, but he remained hopeful. Suddenly, loud noises erupted down the street. People were shouting and running. Samuel looked up to see large government trucks approaching, followed by men in uniforms carrying megaphones. All roadside stalls must be removed immediately, one official shouted. This is government property. You were all warned. Before Samuel could even gather his tools, the men descended on his stall. They pulled down his wooden structure without mercy. His handmade shoes scattered across the ground. The umbrella that had protected him from the sun for years was tossed aside like trash. Please wait, Samuel begged. Let me at least pack my things. But no one listened. They pushed past him and demolished the stall completely, moving methodically from one vendor to the next. The sound of breaking wood and crying filled the air. Samuel stood frozen, watching everything he owned destroyed in minutes. His tools, his materials, his livelihood, all scattered in the dust. Tears filled his eyes as he thought about his grandson Andrew waiting at home. Where will I work now? He whispered, his voice breaking. How will I feed my grandson? Other vendors around him were equally devastated, some sitting on the ground weeping, others shouting at the officials who had already moved on to the next street. With trembling hands, Samuel gathered what little remained, a hammer, a few scattered pieces of leather, and his broken spirit. He began the long walk home under the hot sun, dreading what awaited him there. As he turned the corner to his street, his heart sank even further. His grandson Andrew was standing outside their house, crying. All their belongings were piled on the ground outside the gate. Their landlady stood nearby with her arms crossed and an unmerciful expression on her face. Samuel Okafor, the landlady said coldly as he approached. I warned you many times. You haven't paid rent for 18 months. I'm tired of your promises. Samuel's mouth opened, but no words came. He rushed to his grandson. "Andrew, are you okay?" Andrew nodded, wiping his tears. "Grandpa, they threw everything out. I tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen." Samuel turned to the landlady, his voice pleading. "Please, give me just a little more time. I lost my stall today. The government demolished it. I have nowhere to work now. Please, just one more week." The landlady shook her head firmly. "I have new tenants coming tomorrow. I can't keep waiting for you. I have my own bills to pay, my own children to feed. You should have thought about this months ago." "But where will we go?" Samuel asked desperately. "That's not my problem," she replied harshly. "Maybe you can sleep on the street. I've been patient enough." With that, she walked back inside and locked the gate. Samuel and Andrew stood beside their meager belongings as the sun began to set. Neighbors peeked through windows and doorways, some with pity in their eyes, but no one offered help. In the city, everyone had their own struggles. Samuel held his grandson close. "I'm sorry, my boy. I tried my best. I really did." Andrew looked up at his grandfather with love in his eyes. "I know, Grandpa. You're the best grandfather anyone could have. God will help us." Samuel looked up at the darkening sky, his lips moving in silent prayer. "God, I don't regret helping that little girl. If I had to choose again, I would still give her my last money. But please, I need a miracle now. We need your help." That night, they slept outside on the cold ground beside their bags. No food, no shelter, no clear path forward. But even in his despair, Samuel held onto a thin thread of hope that somehow, God would make a way. The next morning would bring a change neither of them expected. The next morning, Samuel and Andrew woke up stiff and cold from sleeping on the hard ground. Their stomachs were empty, and their spirits were low. But Samuel knew they couldn't stay there. "Andrew," he said gently, "we can't remain here. Let's go to Abuja. My old friend Michael lives there. Maybe he can help us." Andrew nodded trustingly. He had faith in his grandfather, even in these dark times. Samuel sold their small television, the last valuable item they owned, and used the money to buy 2 bus tickets. They sat at the back of the crowded bus, holding their bags tightly, as it made the hour-long journey to the neighboring city. When they arrived, Samuel led Andrew through unfamiliar streets to the area where Michael lived. His heart pounded with both hope and fear as he knocked on his friend's gate. A few moments later the gate opened, and Michael stood there, his eyes widening in surprise. "Samuel, is that really you?" Michael asked, shocked by his friend's appearance. "Yes, my brother. We." Samuel's voice broke. "Michael, we've lost everything. The government destroyed my stall yesterday. Our landlady threw us out. We slept on the street last night. I didn't know where else to go." Michael immediately opened the gate wider. Come in quickly. You're always welcome here, my brother." He brought them inside, gave them water to drink, and sat them down. "Tell me everything," he said with concern. Samuel explained the whole story, losing his stall, the eviction, their desperate situation. Michael listened carefully, shaking his head in sympathy. "Samuel," Michael finally said, "you've come at exactly the right time. My wife and I are moving to our new house this weekend. Our son built it for us in another part of the city." Samuel looked confused. "I don't understand. What does that mean?" Michael smiled. "It means this house is already paid for. We prepaid the rent for 1 year. You can take it over. Just stay here. I'll speak to the landlord about changing the lease to your name. You won't have to pay anything yet." Samuel's hands flew to his mouth in disbelief. "Michael, are you serious? You would do this for us?" "Yes, my brother. Do you remember when my mother was sick years ago? You sold your phone to help pay her hospital bills. God must have sent you here at this exact moment." Tears streamed down Samuel's face as the reality of Michael's generosity sank in. Thank you, my brother. You don't know what this means to us. Just yesterday we had nothing. Now we have a home. Wait, I'm not finished, Michael said with a smile. I also have some money I've been saving for emergencies. You can use it to start a new shoemaking business. It should be enough to buy materials and equipment to get started again. Samuel fell to his knees, overcome with emotion. God has used you to save us. How can I ever repay you? Michael helped him up. You helped me when I needed it most. That's what true friends do. Besides, you need to get Andrew back in school. The money should cover his fees for this term too. Andrew, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Thank you, sir. I'll study hard and make you proud. 3 days later, Amara and her mother decided it was time to visit Samuel and thank him properly. They took a bus to the street where Amara had met him. But when they arrived, their hearts sank. The entire row of roadside stalls was gone. The area was now empty and cleared. Broken wood and scattered debris were all that remained of the small businesses that had once lined the street. Mama, this is where his stall was, Amara said, her voice filled with disappointment. What happened here? Her mother looked around sadly. It must have been a government demolition. They do this sometimes, clearing vendors without warning. She sighed. But how will we find him now? Amara searched desperately with her eyes, hoping to see someone who might know Samuel. But the street was deserted. No one was around to ask. They walked back home slowly, their hearts heavy. We'll keep trying, my daughter, her mother said, trying to sound hopeful. One day, somehow, we'll find him. As they entered their compound, Amara's stepfather was waiting at the door with his arms crossed, his expression dark and suspicious. The confrontation that would change their lives was about to begin. Where have you two been all morning? Amara's stepfather demanded, his voice sharp with suspicion. Amara's mother answered calmly. We went to find the man who helped Amara with her school fees. We wanted to thank him. What man? He asked, his frown deepening. A shoemaker who gave Amara money when she lost her fees, her mother explained. We went to his stall, but everything has been demolished. We couldn't find him. The man laughed cruelly. What a convenient story. You expect me to believe you've been out looking for some imaginary shoemaker? You must think I'm stupid. But it's true. Amara protested. He really helped me. Shut your mouth, he shouted. Your mother is seeing another man behind my back. That's the real truth. You're both liars. Amara's mother was shocked. How can you say such things? I've told you the truth. Why would I lie about this? Get out, he screamed. I'm tired of supporting you and your daughter. You're both nothing but trouble. Go and live with your shoemaker boyfriend for all I care. Before they could respond, he went inside and began throwing their belongings out the door. Clothes, bags, everything. Within minutes, they were standing on the street with their possessions scattered around them. Amara's mother picked up their bags slowly, trying to maintain her dignity. She didn't argue or fight back. She simply gathered what they could carry, took Amara's hand, and walked away. They found a small shop with a bench outside, and the kind shopkeeper allowed them to rest there. As they sat quietly, exhausted and uncertain about their future, a man approached. He was dressed in tattered clothes and looked almost homeless himself. Madam, can you help me buy some water? He asked politely. Amara's mother had only 500 naira left to her name. She hesitated for a moment, then gave him 200 naira. Thank you, madam, he said with genuine gratitude. I have something for you. He pulled out a crumpled lottery ticket from his pocket. Take this. It's my raffle ticket. Maybe you'll win something good. Amara's mother took the ticket, not believing for a moment that it meant anything. But something inside told her to keep it. Just like that, she whispered to herself, tucking the small paper into her bag. She had no idea that this simple exchange would transform their lives forever. Several days passed. Amara's mother worked hard doing whatever job she could find, helping market women carry goods, washing clothes, anything to earn money for food. They slept wherever they could find shelter, their situation desperate but not hopeless. One afternoon, as she walked past a lottery shop, something made her remember the ticket. She pulled it out of her bag, thinking she'd just check it to pass the time. She walked into the shop and handed the crumpled paper to the man behind the counter. He looked at it, then looked again. His eyes widened. Suddenly he jumped up, shouting, "Madam, do you know what this is?" "What do you mean?" she asked, confused. "You've won. This is the winning number. You've won the jackpot." Amara's mother stood frozen. "What are you saying?" "Madam, you've won 50 million naira," the man exclaimed, barely able to contain his excitement. 50. What? 50 million. Her knees went weak, and she grabbed the counter for support. "Yes. You're a rich woman now." Amara's mother sat down on the nearest chair, her whole body shaking. Tears began flowing down her face, tears of shock, tears of relief, tears of joy. All the pain, all the struggle, all the nights of worry suddenly felt worth it. "That man. He was sent by God," she whispered through her tears. "Is this really happening?" The shop owner smiled. "It's happening, madam. Your life has just changed completely." Within days, the money was processed and transferred to her account. Amara's mother immediately moved them into a decent apartment, enrolled Amara in a better school, and started a small business. She invested wisely, and the money began to grow. But through it all, Amara never forgot the shoemaker who had started this chain of events. "Mama," she would say, "we must find Mr. Samuel. None of this would have happened without his kindness." "We will keep looking, my daughter," her mother promised. "God will help us find him when the time is right." 15 years would pass before that promise would be fulfilled, but when it happened, the reunion would be more miraculous than anyone could have imagined. 15 years later, Amara had grown into a successful businesswoman. Her mother's wise investments had multiplied their wealth, and Amara herself had built a thriving company. She lived in a beautiful house, drove nice cars, and was respected in the business community. But despite all her success, she never forgot the old shoemaker who had changed her life. She had searched for him many times over the years, always hoping to find Samuel Okafor and repay his kindness. Meanwhile, Samuel and his grandson Andrew had rebuilt their lives modestly. With Michael's help, Samuel had started a small shoemaking business again. It wasn't much, but they survived. Andrew had grown into a hard-working young man and had just graduated from university. He was searching for a job while helping his grandfather with the business. One Saturday morning, Samuel went to the market, leaving Andrew at their small roadside stall. As Andrew worked on repairing a customer's shoe, a sleek car pulled up nearby. A well-dressed woman stepped out, looking elegant and successful. She walked toward him with purpose. "Excuse me, young man. Can you help me? My shoe buckle has come loose." Andrew looked up, quickly wiping his hands. "Of course, ma'am. Let me fix it for you." As he worked carefully on her shoe, she watched him closely. There was something about his humility and focus that impressed her. "How much do I owe you?" she asked when he finished. Andrew smiled. "No charge, ma'am. It was a small thing." "You looked like you were in a hurry." She was surprised. "You won't take any payment?" "No, ma'am. I just wanted to help." The woman studied him for a moment. "What's your name?" "Andrew, ma'am." "Andrew, I'm looking for a driver. Someone honest and reliable. Most people I meet these days aren't trustworthy. But you seem different. Would you be interested?" Andrew's heart raced. "A job? After months of searching? Are you serious, ma'am?" "Very serious. I'll pay you well and provide accommodation. I just need someone I can trust." She handed him her business card. "My name is Amara Thompson. Call me tomorrow if you're interested." Andrew took the card with trembling hands, unable to believe what was happening. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you loved this story of kindness, redemption, and destiny, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our uplifting content. Comment below with your favorite moment from this story. We love hearing from you. See you in the next story.